Hi people, how you going? So I'm a little bit very concerned this morning. So people are starting to get in their inbox on the Indue Cashless debit card. Please supply us your tax file number. A lot of people are not happy about this. Indue is a private company. They are not your bank, they're not your employer, and they're not the ATO. But they want their tax file number so that apparently they can refund you the interest of 1% back onto your card. All right, now you only have from today, the 23rd of June to the 30th of June, to upload to them your tax file number. But where's it going and who's it going to and what's it going to be used for? Okay, that's the question I've got. Now, I rang Labor, Linda Burney's office. Of course, the staff know nothing about it, of course, right? And the lady's going to talk to someone else and get onto it. You know, because I raised the questions of, she turned around and said, oh, but I have to give my tax file number to my employer. But Indue's not people's employers. And the money's going through the Bank of America. So who's getting the tax file number? Why isn't that 1% interest being refunded back to people's Centrelink accounts? You know what I mean? After all, Centrelink already have people's tax file number. And we've got a case today in the support group of a lady who's not on the card. She got off the card in May, and she is not on a trigger payment, and yet they want her tax file number to refund her 1% back onto the card. They've not closed the account, right? And the excuse given for not closing accounts is you might need to go back on the card in the future. Rubbish, right? How much money are Indue making from accounts that are sitting there open that should be closed? But another thing too is the threat that if you fail to upload your tax file number to Indue, right, not Centrelink, right, if you fail to do this, you will be charged at the highest possible tax rate going on that 1% interest, but then you will be charged the Medicare levy. So I looked up the Medicare levy because people on Social Security don't pay the Medicare levy because they're on Social Security, because they're on such low incomes. And the Medicare levy is 2% of your total taxable income. That's a hell of a lot more than the 1% interest on your Social Security payments, isn't it? So, again, we see coercion and threats to get people to hand over information, right? We don't know whether this is lawful, whether this is legal, okay? Why can't they just use your Centrelink account and pay the interest back to your Centrelink account? After all, they've already got your tax file number there. But no, Indue want this. Why do they want tax file numbers? Right? People like the lady I've just spoken to online who isn't even on the card, not on a trigger payment even, received the letter, right, demanding that she upload her tax file number to Indue. She has nothing to do with Indue anymore. Right? If they owe her money, they should put it back into her normal bank account. Period. Not threats of higher taxes and Medicare levies, or she's probably paying the Medicare levy if she's got a job. You know what I mean? But the thing is, where is it in the legislation that people on Social Security all of a sudden are expected to pay Medicare levy? 2% of your total taxable income is what your Medicare levy is calculated at. Right? Social Security payments are taxable incomes. They forget that people on Social Security pay tax. But to threaten, this is what's getting me, right? And nobody's questioning it. No one's standing up and going, hang on, who the bloody hell are you, Indue? You're not a bank. You're a finance transfer company. You have all these other kind-of-sky businesses, and right? But who the hell are you? You're not a bank. Our banks can't do this, like the way this is going around. Do you know what I mean? Your bank, I don't know.
You can only open an account if you give them your...
Yeah, you go to the bank, you open an account, you give them your tax file number so that they can show the ATO the interest calculated on your balances, right, for taxation purposes. That's fine. All right, so now Indue are acting like a bank. But they're still not a bank. But their backup bank, Bank of America. Is that where it's coming through? So my question is your tax file number being sent to the Bank of America? If so, why? Bank of America are not Australian banks, and you don't hold an account with the Bank of America, not that you've consented to anyway, or your knowledge, right? I want to know why people are not questioning this. People in government, people, lawyers, I want to know why these things are not being questioned, why people on the card are being totally bloody ignored when it comes to legal rights, financial rights, protections under law. Right? This bullshit of if you don't pay or you don't hand over your tax file number, we'll hit you I think, 48 cents in the dollar tax on that 1% interest. But we'll charge you the Medicare levy as well. Since when did that get legislated? Didn't see it, did you? Did they sneak that in with the omnibus bill? Since when do it get legislated that if people fail to comply and give information to Indue, that they get hit the Medicare levy? I smell a rat. So I suggest to everybody who's on a cashless debit card out there right now, ring your senators and start asking these questions. Why is my privacy not protected? Why do I have to give my tax file number to a non-banking financial institution? Where is that information going? What's it being used for? Is it being used to calculate my 1% interest? If so, why can't that be sorted out by Centrelink, right, under its normal deeming section, under your Centrelink payments section, right, which already has your tax file number and those details? Why does Indue have to be involved? Why does Indue have to do it separately? Start asking the questions, people, because this is getting ridiculous. All right? I'm just sick to death of cardholders having no rights, no protections. They can't ask a question and nobody can give them the answers except for put up with it. You just have to put up with it because you're only controlled by Indue. You can't do anything about it. Rubbish. We have something called a rule of law in this country, right? And people are being denied protections under those laws, right? I'm just gobsmacked. So get on the phones and start asking people. If you've got that letter threatening to take more than what they're entitled to or impose a Medicare levy on you, start asking hard questions, right? Because this smells of another scam to me, right, to get people to pay the Medicare levy on their Social Security payments. I'm going to tell you now, that 2% of your total income for the year is a lot higher than the piddly little 1% they're offering you back on interest payments. And bear in mind, they're only back paying it a year. You know what I mean? It's not going to be hundreds of dollars, that's for sure. You know what I mean? They're not going back 5 years for some people on the card. They're only going back 1 year. I'm extremely concerned at what other things, how they can sidestep the law and rules and things like that for Indue. Start jumping up and down, people. This is just ridiculous. We can't get answers, right? I've spoken to the Greens about this. They were going to make inquiries. They don't know. I've spoken to Labor this morning. They have no clue. And her comments turned around and said, but I have to give my employer my tax file number. Indue is not your employer if you're on a cashless debit card. Are they? Yes, we all have to give the tax file number to your employer or Centrelink if you're claiming a payment. And that information is between you, your employer, and Centrelink and the ATO only. Not every other Tom, Dick and Harry private company out there and all of their stakeholders. Remember, Indue makes it very clear that they share all of your information with their stakeholders, right? And that your information can be shared to Israel, Spain, the UK and the US. Why? No privacy, no legal protections. Enough is enough and people need to start questioning it, right? Just because you're on a Social Security payment in this country does not mean that you are excluded from the laws to protect every other citizen. Even though we've got people out there who seem to think that people on Social Security shouldn't have any rights or be protected by law and are okay to be extorted and rorted by private companies and by the system and the job agencies and the work for the dole and the CDP and you name it. It's got to stop, and somebody's got to stand up and start asking these hard questions and start demanding answers and saying, no, you can't do that to that person. Oh, yes, we can, under the guise of a trial, right? No, enough is enough, right? There's got to be a way to stop this madness. These people are being, they've not had their day in court, right? They're being charged as guilty without the presumption of innocence, right? And I'm just over it. And they're being rorted. And Indue, they don't frigging care if you get hacked and money gets taken from your account. They rarely pay people back. And there's people out there that are losing money fortnightly and they don't know where it goes. It just goes missing and Indue won't do anything about it. All right, over the last couple of years in Kalgoorlie, loads of people had hundreds and hundreds of dollars stolen from their accounts and it's not sorted out. You know? Yep, 2% of all income for the Medicare levy. That's what it works out to, Mel. Which is far higher than the 1% interest you're getting back paid. But of course, if you don't hand over your tax file number, then you're going to be paying 48 cents in the dollar for your 1%, and you're going to get hit the 2% Medicare levy. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. And with the majority of people on the cashless debit card being single parents on parenting payments or disability support parents payments and their carers, a lot of them are in the higher threshold. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm furious at this system. Nobody's giving any answers. So you guys out there need to get this out there. Start putting pressure on the politicians and lawyers and community welfare sector and say, start standing up and asking the questions. Start protecting the people. Because at the moment, people like Jody are in no man's land with no one to stand up legally and protect their human rights, their financial rights, their private rights, their autonomy, nothing. There's nowhere to go, right? She's, guardianship, advocacies, none of them can help. Why? Why can't they help these people? Because you're all excluded because it's a trial. No. Everybody in this country should be protected by the rule of law equally. No matter what payment they're on, whatever job they've got, whatever. And this is not happening. You've now got people excluded, completely locked out of getting any help. Every service provider, oh, sorry, we can't help you. Right? We don't know. We can't do this. We can't do that. I'm sick to death of it. And it has to stop. Somebody's got to stand up and say, enough. These people have rights. I don't care if somebody out there thinks that because somebody's on Social Security, they shouldn't be allowed to have their legal rights and their protections under law. Get stuff, they're still Australian citizens. They still pay tax. You know what I mean? And to those out there, oh, it's not their money. Yes, it is. Go read Social Security law. All right? Go and read the laws. See ya.